Well, the nightmare of being kidnapped and held hostage extends to the families of the victims. Joining me now, someone who unfortunately understands that all too well. Adam Mainit is a British Israeli citizen whose cousin Sachi was taken and Sachi's daughter Mayan was killed. Thank you so much for joining me, Adam. And I'm so sorry for you and your family's losses. Have you received any
Thank you.
information on the whereabouts of your missing family member at this point? Have you heard anything from the Israeli government?
Obviously, I can't disclose intimate, sensitive details that are ongoing conversations that the family are having with the Israeli government. It is a very sensitive, difficult situation. What we do know is that, as far as we can tell, Sahi is still alive, and he is one of the captives from Hamas, and our focus right now is on trying to get him released, along with every other hostage that Hamas has taken in this after this brutal massacre and atrocity that they inflicted on Israel in October 7th.
Adam, does the release of these now 4 hostages give you hope? And how do you view the fact that Hamas is now starting to release some hostages?
Well, I mean, Hamas have a lot of cards to play with right now, and they're playing with them as best they can. They're trying to court sympathy and show that they're, humanitarian and all the rest of it. And of course, these hostages have just been through a very traumatic experience. And for example, the most recent hostages, they still have family members who are still captive. So anything they say, it has to be seen in light of the fact that they're still worried about their husbands and other family members who are still captive. And so they have to be really careful about what they say. If they're overly critical of Hamas, who knows what fate might befall those captives.
That's such a valid point. We know that the U.S. is advising Israel to delay this ground invasion, to allow for more time for these hostage negotiations. From your perspective, knowing that you have a cousin who is in the custody of Hamas, do you agree? Do you agree with that delay?
Well, I agree with whatever the Israeli government decides is the best course of action, because the Israeli government has historically and always sought to repatriate and free any hostages to the best of its human ability. That's the motivation of the forces. That's what they're going to try to do. What operations they're going to do to make that happen is entirely up to them. They're the experts here. I think it's not for us to second guess them. They know exactly what the Hamas tunnel network looks like. They know exactly what the logistics and infrastructure are like. They know what the operational difficulties would be. So they're not going to go in and just risk Israeli lives. And I should say also American lives, because there's American hostages among them. There's many nationalities who have been taken captive by Hamas here. And I think, everyone's focus should be on trying to get them released, and all pressure should be put on all governments that have any leverage over Hamas to make that happen.
And Adam, before we let you go, the fact that you're speaking right now, I have so much respect for you because obviously you are grieving. Describe what the past 2.5 weeks have been like for you and for your family.
My family were peaceful people living in a commune just near the Gaza border, gentle souls, beautiful children, growing out, fruit trees and living, happy lives, inoffensive to anybody. Many of the people in these communities are peaceniks. There are people who wanted to build peace with Palestinians. Many of the victims are even Arab Israeli citizens who are killed in this as well. It's not just Jews who are murdered. Hamas doesn't care. Hamas is a terrorist organization akin to ISIS. The brutality of what they did, the atrocities that they committed, are obscene. My family had to witness not only their precious daughter murdered in front of their eyes, shot in the head, and lay there dying. Safi's hands and clothes were soaked in her blood. But they then had to, the rest of the family had to see this live streamed on her mother's Facebook, because the terrorists used her phone to live stream it to everyone. So we had to endure the horrors of that as well. And as you can see in the photo there, that's another cousin of mine that was taken during the second Intifada by Hamas 20 years ago. So my family knows a lot about what Hamas is like. This is a terrorist organization. This is a death cult. They don't care about this life. They care about an afterlife. And they don't care. They're not trying to fight for a two-state solution. They're not trying to fight for living peacefully side by side with Jews in Israel. They are trying to eliminate us. And I think that's where you have to understand when people call for ceasefires and peace negotiations, that's just not tenable with a group like this.
Adam, thank you so much for speaking with us. And again, sincere condolences. I know nothing could ever replace the loss of your family. So thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.